It's going to help satisfy any craving you would have for sweets, whether it's a Pop Tart, whether it's candy, whatever your indulgence may be. Welcome back to the Anabolic Hub, where we make anabolic deliciousness. We're back inside my kitchen today and we're doing another original recipe. We're gonna keep the Anabolic Pop Tart train going with our strawberry flavored Pop Tart today. If you've seen the other two Pop Tart versions that we've made, the brown sugar and the s'mores, you know it's a very simple 3-step process. We're gonna put together the pastry, we're gonna put together the filling, we're gonna put together the frosting, put all three together after we bake it up, take it over to the taste test table and see how fantastic this one is. It is most definitely going to be ideal for any shredding plan, any weight loss plan, and definitely any main gaining plan. So with no further ado, let's get things started by having a look at the ingredients. Here we go. All-purpose flour, strawberry-based whey protein powder, vanilla-based casein protein powder, powdered peanut butter, Swerve, granular, diced up strawberries, plain non-fat Greek yogurt, sugar-free syrup, Swerve, confectioners, almond milk, birthday cake sprinkles. And as much as things change, they stay the same. We're going to be doing one of those magical recipes where we're mixing together some dry ingredients, mixing together some wet ingredients, and we're combining the two for some anabolic deliciousness. So let's get things started here by mixing together our dry ingredients first for the pastry. The first dry ingredient that we need is going to be 25 grams of our all-purpose flour. Next, we're gonna do a very rare mix-up of our protein powders. We're gonna be using here 4 grams of our casein protein powder and then 4 grams of our strawberry-based whey protein powder. Now, I like this strawberry-based whey protein powder because I think it gives a great strawberry flavor, especially for this particular recipe. Or if you wanna do half and half like I'm doing, just using another vanilla-based whey protein powder, that will work best. You wanna have a divide of both. I think it makes the texture for this particular recipe work really well. Also, with the filling that we're gonna be doing, it works really well in keeping that nice and enclosed. But here we go. Initially, 4 grams of our vanilla-based casein protein powder going in first. And then 4 grams of our strawberry-based whey protein powder. Then we need 8 grams of our powdered peanut butter. Really fought me for that last gram, but at the end of the day, we have 8 grams on the money. Next, we need 10 grams of our Swerve granular, or whichever 0-calorie sweetener you prefer. That's all the dry ingredients for our pastry base. Next step is to mix all those dry ingredients together, and I highly recommend, as always, that you sift them together to properly disperse all of the ingredients and get a nice, even, deliciously tasting pastry at the end. Dry ingredients done. Next step is to add in our 2 wet ingredients. First one is going to be 35 grams of our non-fat plain Greek yogurt, utilizing our negative scale measuring system. And our second and only other wet ingredient is one that you have to add in very carefully. You do not want this dough to be too soupy. If it's too soupy, it's not gonna work. It's just gonna run everywhere. It's not gonna cook up right. So you wanna start by adding in as little of the almond milk as possible. I recommend starting with 5 grams. It's probably not gonna do much, especially if you're using casein, but I'm telling you, go slow, add just enough until you get the proper consistency, which I will show you here in 1 second. So I added in 20 grams of the almond milk. That gave me the appropriate consistency with the protein powder that I'm using. It should be a tough dough, very difficult to move your spoon through. You don't want this to be too soupy. I'm telling you, if it's too soupy, it's not gonna work. Pastry is just gonna be one big puddle that you bake up, and that's not gonna be any good, especially after we put the filling in. This here, very tough to put the spoon through. It should almost stop when you try to put it through the dough. That's when you know you have the right consistency. Add as little in as you can of that almond milk till you get this type of consistency here. You don't want to overdo it. I can't emphasize that enough. Now that we have our dough ready to go, it's time to divide it in half. We're going to put one dough ball in the center of this piece of parchment paper, the other half in the center of this piece of parchment paper. Spread them out into a rectangular form. Then we'll be ready to get started on our filling. Once you have your 2 dough balls in the center of each piece of parchment paper, it's time to start shaping them into a rectangular Pop-Tart form. I recommend getting things started here using your hands. We're gonna dip our fingertips into some water just so the dough doesn't stick to our hands too much. Shape this out into a rectangle. Then we're gonna use a butter knife to shape them exactly how we want them. Now that we have the beginning of our rectangular shapes, next thing we're going to do is spread out our dough a little bit more using a butter knife, and we're going to shape it into more of a sharper cornered rectangle. And once you have your 2 rectangles that are basically the same shape, same size, you're good to go. Next step is to create the filling. Our next step is to create the filling. If you want to take the easy way out, you can just get a strawberry spread jam at the store and spread that onto your pastry. It'll work just fine. However, I think if you take 20 grams of diced up strawberries like I have here, and you add in 2 grams of the sugar-free syrup, as well as 5 grams of our Swerve granular, you're going to get a nice mixture that's going to be even sweeter than the spreadable jam. It's going to taste so much better. Plus, it's going to be more like real food. It's going to feel like you're having something that's a lot more substantial and not as processed. So we take our 20 grams of our diced up strawberry, adding in 2 grams of our sugar-free syrup. Then to make it even sweeter, we're going to add in 5 grams of our Swerve granular. Then very lightly, we're going to give it a quick little mix. And then you want to mash it just a little bit, not too much. You don't want to liquefy it completely or it's going to spill out all over your pastry. Just give it a nice gentle mash, mix everything together. You just want a little bit of that strawberry juice to come out. You don't want to completely mash it up, or like I said, it's going to be way too runny for the pastry. And there we have it, our Strawberry Pop Tart filling deliciousness ready to go on one of our pastries. So once we start adding our filling onto our pastry, you want to make sure you leave about ½ an inch around the edge so that we're able to seal this up when we start baking. If you can't seal it up, some of the filling is going to spill out over the sides and make kind of a mess. Plus, you're going to lose some of that anabolic deliciousness of flavor that we definitely want to have. So remember, leave yourself ½ an inch around the edge for when we go to close this up. Once you have the filling all set to go on one side of your pastry, we're going to take the opposite one, put it right on top, and then very gently and very carefully peel off the parchment paper. One of the easiest ways to do this as cleanly as possible is to use the edge of a butter knife while you're peeling back the parchment paper. And once you get about ½ an inch to an inch of your top pastry on, it's much easier to pull off, so still go nice and slow, nice and gentle. And then once you have your top pastry on, the last step on getting this ready to go into the baking process is to seal all the edges using the end of your fork. And that is the last step, just to make sure we don't cause too much heat and the filling comes exploding up over the top. What you want to do is just poke some holes in the top using your fork. Just go one here, one in the middle, and then one there. And that'll let enough of the steam out so that you don't get a big strawberry mess. And just like that, we're ready to start baking. You can do this in the air fryer if you set it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius. You're gonna cook it up for 4 minutes. Flip it over and then cook it another 2 minutes to make sure it's cooked all the way through. If you want to do this in a conventional oven, you can bake this at 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius for about 6 to 8 minutes, flipping it around the halfway mark so that it also cooks thoroughly there as well. Let's get this going. We're going to be doing it in the air fryer today. Let's make our way over there and let's get cooking. Now that we have our pastry out of the oven, we're gonna let it cool at the bottom, completely set. While we're waiting for that to happen, we're going to start making our frosting to go on top. Super simple frosting to get going here. We're gonna start our base off here with 5 grams of our vanilla-based casein protein powder. Casein is always the best for frostings, in my opinion. We're gonna add to this 3 grams of our Swerve confectioners for a little more sweetness. Then for our wet ingredient, we're going to add in 25 grams of our non-fat plain Greek yogurt. Then once you have those in there, the next step is to mix them up. When you initially start mixing, you're gonna feel like you don't have enough wet ingredient, but I'm telling you, if you mix until you think you've mixed enough and then mix some more, you will find that it does all incorporate. We have a nice frosting consistency here. We're gonna wait for our pastry to finish cooling, then we're gonna put this on top, add on a few sprinkles, then it's over to the taste test table. And once you have your frosting on there, looking good enough for Instagram, you're good to go to put on your last topping, which is going to be our birthday cake sprinkles. You can use regular ice cream rainbow sprinkles if you want to. I think these happen to look better. They also make it taste more like an authentic strawberry Pop Tart. So let's put these on here and get over to the taste test table. We're back at the taste test table yet again to try our third Pop Tart recipe, our Anabolic Strawberry Pop Tart. Smells delicious, looks fantastic. Couldn't get anything closer to the real thing that is this anabolic with this much protein in it. So excited to have you guys try it. I think you're gonna love it. If you like the other ones, this one's just as good, possibly even better. But let's stop talking about it. Let's get right to the taste test because I am starving. First bite, best bite, always. Don't care what you say. Here we go. This is a two-hand pickup. And 3, 2, 1, taste test. Oh, I know you're gonna be tempted to just use this strawberry jam, and that's easy, much easier, simple, straight to the point, but I'm telling you, having those real strawberries mixed with that sugar-free syrup and the swerve adds a level of sweetness and deliciousness you're not gonna get if you just use the jam. Highly recommend, at least one time, try it with this. It's gonna be so much better. Very dense of a Pop-Tart, just like our other ones. There's a good heft to them. It's not like your typical Pop-Tart, like I've said before, that's a little flimsy and very light. This one's got some density to it. High in protein, high in fiber, definitely gonna help you feel satisfied. It's another one of those snacks that can easily replace a protein bar, could easily replace any snack that you're having during the week. This is a winner right here. The casein frosting is so key. It's the best protein powder for making any kind of frosting. It fits this recipe perfect. If you ever had a real strawberry Pop-Tart before, you know what that frosting tastes like. This is just as sweet as that is. It's gonna help satisfy any craving you would have for sweets, whether it's a Pop-Tart, whether it's candy, whatever your indulgence may be. This is gonna take care of that for you, no doubt in my mind. I challenge anyone to make 2 of these, eat them in a single sitting, and tell me that you're not feeling at least full after 10 minutes. I'd be shocked. It's impossible. That thick frosting that goes on top there, it's sweet, it's heavy duty. It's not gonna be like eating a regular Pop-Tart. You're gonna have one of these and feel like, oh, I guess I could go for another one, get about halfway through it and say, yeah, probably should have stopped at 1. You'll still finish it, but you'll probably be able to wait even longer to get to your next meal. 3, what I would say, classic Pop-Tart recipes in the books. This one's great. If you've tried the other ones and you like those, I think you'll love this one as well. I mean, there's really not much else to say except that it's absolutely delicious. Might be another one of those taste tests where I actually finish it in a single sitting here. Don't eat the rest off camera. Rarely happens, but this is gonna happen. And just like first bite's best bite, last bite's worst bite because then it's gone. Very sad. Saddest part of the meal, but you know what? We're super anabolic with this one, building muscle, we're staying shredded, we're main gaining, whatever you need to do. This snack's gonna help you get there, I guarantee it. I'll flash up the macros here so we can take a look and see exactly what's in this. As you can see, it's loaded with protein. The fiber count is right where it needs to be. These calories are gonna fit right into any snack that you're thinking about having for the day. Very easy to maintain your fitness goals with snacks like this. It almost doesn't feel right, but it is. Oh man. So lucky to be on the anabolic diet. There's no better eating lifestyle that I've ever been a part of, and I'm having so much fun making these recipes. I can't wait to do more. If there's another Pop-Tart flavor you'd like to have me give a try at, let me know in the comments section down below. I'll give it a try, see what I can come up with. Promised I'd finish this before I left, so last bite, worst bite, because then it's gone. It's gonna be about that time. I gotta get up out of here, because there's nothing left to taste test. But I'll see you in the next one. Bye.